Many teachers ask me this question: how can I build a community in my classroom? Today's keyword is connection, but it could just as well be community. When we want our students to be able to work independently, it's essential that we create the right conditions for this to flourish. You need a positive, welcoming learning environment without the distractions that often come from petty arguments and disagreements. If your experience has been anything like mine, working with young learners can be challenging because they don't have the same filter as older learners do. They'll quite happily say that they don't want to work with a particular student without much or any regard for their feelings. In this series, we're moving towards a learner-centered classroom, and this generally means there'll be lots of pair work and group work. So it's essential to get this right if we want our students to work well together. First, we need to connect with our students. We need to build two-way relationships. The more you know about your learners, the easier it will be to develop a positive relationship with them. Ask questions to learn more about your students. The more you know, the easier it will be for you to involve them and their interests. We also need our students to be able to trust us. But trust is two-way, not one, and we need to place trust in our students too. We need to trust them to act responsibly and to make responsible decisions. We'll come back to this later in the series, but we need to scaffold autonomy from the very beginning so that students feel that they can trust themselves to make good choices. And finally, they need to trust each other, and to do this we need to build connections between them. So how can we do this? Well, there are lots of activities we can do where students get to know each other and find out what they have in common. We can also set up team building activities and also think carefully about how we group students. It can be easy to fall into a habit of letting students stay in the same groups and work with the same friends all of the time. And once this habit sets in, it can be very hard to change. So make sure you rotate students and have them work with different classmates from the very beginning of term. Use your class rules to ensure that students know what the expectations are in terms of how they talk to and act with each other. And model kindness, model showing interest in each other. Ask lots of questions to show students that you are interested in them and that they are valuable members of the class. In order to connect with your students, try telling them something about you. Something you did, something about your personal life. Bring in something to show them. Even small snippets can help create that bond. And finally, find out more about your students and their experience of their English lessons. Here's a quick reflection activity that you can do with the class. You could give them a graphic organizer to do this, or they could just write in their notebooks. You could even have them start a journal where they write down small reflections like this each lesson. For this initial activity, you could have students write or draw how I feel about my English lessons. 3 words to describe my English lessons, maybe from a set that you give them. What I like best about my English class. 1 thing I would like my English teacher to do. And 3 things I would like my teacher to know about me. If students don't have the language skills to do this in English, you could allow them to use their home languages or a mix. Encourage them to use any words they know, and you can scaffold the activity by providing sets of words to choose from and model answers. You can model the activity yourself about something that maybe you're learning, or a class that you took when you were younger, maybe when you were at school. Again, this is another way in which you can connect with students. Remind them that you were a student yourself once and you had struggles too. Or share a little bit of your personal experience now and show some vulnerability. Today's tip is make your students feel important. Share something with them, something that you've never shared before. It doesn't need to be big, it could be anything, but this sends a message that you value and trust your students. And this will make it a lot easier for them to open up and do the same. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week.